After one of our terrifying dinners, it's impossible not to love this woman. Just seconds before delivering that classic line, I'm panicking. The idea of being without my candy for the next 3 or 4 days is very triggering to me. She completely wins you over. She's the perfect blend of relatable, likable, funny, and cute. Basically, the comic relief this show desperately needed. Honestly, the cast mix is spot on right now. Is she the most relatable rich person out there, or is she just really good at pretending? Either way, I'm here for it. Oh my god, it's happening. First-time mom here, and apparently, I've been fully indoctrinated into the Bubba lifestyle. My husband started calling our newborn that, and now here I am, wandering around the house like I'm auditioning for Vanderpump Rules. Hello, Bubba. What is it, Bubs? I couldn't figure out where I'd heard that cadence before, and then boom, it hit me. It's basically a Dorrit impersonation. And of course, this whole Bubba business also took me straight to Katie and Schwartz. Sadly, not for the best reason, but for his arse. Mauricio and Kyle are trying to work things out, but honestly, after all the years they've been married and on TV, it's hard to buy that Mauricio is being totally upfront with Kyle about what he wants. Either he's lying to her, doesn't want to hurt her and the girls, or he has no clue what he wants. It's painfully obvious that he regrets what happened between them and sees that Kyle is hurting, but instead of just comforting her, he should be honest with her. If he has no intention of working things out, he needs to say it. It feels like he's taking advantage of the fact that Kyle wants him back and isn't seeing anyone. It's almost like he thinks he can just waltz back into her life whenever he's done playing around. And honestly, the idea that he'll sleep with a bunch of younger women, then eventually slink back to Kyle when he's over it, is gross. When Kyle pointed out that she thought the girl might have set up the paparazzi shots, Mauricio looked shocked, which is hilarious. Are these women on the payroll? Because it sure seems like it. He's clearly wealthy, so it's not a stretch to think he could fly them in for a good time. But seriously, where is he meeting all these women? It's almost like he's been doing this for a while, given how quickly he's managed to rack up so many different women. Then there's the public makeout sessions. The audacity to hook up with random women in public, knowing the paparazzi could be snapping pics while he's still married. They're not even divorced yet, and no paperwork has been filed, so it's not like he's out of bounds yet. He should be more cautious, especially when he's around married men who have wives that would definitely not appreciate him being around these women. It's disrespectful to Kyle, who has already been hearing all about it from the other women. And let's talk about Kathy for a second. She's around more than ever, and it's painfully clear she'd love for Mauricio to be out of the picture. She's had issues with him since the whole mess with her husband years ago, and it's obvious she'd be thrilled for Kyle to be single again, or with someone else. She's probably already got a lineup of potential suitors for her. Sure, Kyle is hurt, scared of being alone after all this time, but would she really want to be with Mauricio after all this? They have zero emotional connection left, and after all this mess, their physical connection is going to be a struggle too. Mauricio definitely wants out, but doesn't want to be the one to make it official. Kyle will never file for divorce without feeling completely humiliated, but at this point, I don't think Mauricio cares about that anymore. As for Kyle's whatever the hell it was with Morgan, that completely humiliated Mauricio, and frankly, he got a taste of what he's been dishing out to Kyle for years. But let's not forget how Kyle humiliated him too. The flood of photos and press about her and Morgan, plus her complete abandonment of their intimate relationship, made Mauricio feel totally unwelcome in their home. Kyle pretty much forced the separation, so when we talk about Mauricio, we can't ignore what Kyle's been doing too. None of us knows all the truths here, but one thing's clear, they're both a mess. Crystal really opened up about her eating disorder in a way that hit me right in the feels. I'm up to S13 Ep 10, and she talks about how distracted she gets by how much skinnier the other women have become. As someone who's struggled with an ED, not so much now, but still working through it. I really resonated with that. It's like she was voicing everything I felt. Putting the drama aside, I really think she deserves credit for being honest about what it's like to live with an eating disorder. It's so often invisible, especially if you're already thin, but that doesn't mean it's not a daily battle. We don't get to see how much it messes with your mind. And to anyone else dealing with this, you're loved, you're doing amazing, and don't be afraid to reach out for help. I truly appreciated her being so open about the difficulty of it all. The comparison with others, that's so real. I do it all the time, and she's right, it's honestly exhausting and distracting. Oh, so Kyle's Amazon leaves are the new hotspot for Morgan gossip. Classic. I mean, doesn't Kyle answer questions about Morgan and casually chat about her during those? Pretty sure thousands of people are tuned in to watch that. So, what's the big deal? If she's spilling the same tea on Amazon Live as she does on the show, what's the real difference? Just another platform to keep the drama flowing, right? If I were Kyle and Allison Dubois pulled one of her psychic readings on me, telling me my husband would never emotionally fulfill me, you could not pay me enough to leave him. I'd fake it till I die before I let that woman get the satisfaction of saying, "I told you so," while puffing away on her e-cigarette like some smug fortune teller. Absolutely not. I had the same thought when it all went down. I'd rather claim we were a throuple and living our best lives than let that smug witch have the last laugh. I mean, let's be real, she's a joke. This woman couldn't even predict her own friend's marriage falling apart. People love to cite her when talking about Kyle's marriage, but honestly, she was just a scammer. And with half of marriages ending in divorce, her prediction was hardly groundbreaking. It's not like she was risking much. That prediction, yeah, it was weak at best. She knew who Kyle was, Camille set her up, and she threw out some generic nonsense about couples with kids growing apart when the kids leave. Newsflash, this happens all the time. No psychic powers needed there. Oh, you have to watch Jennifer Tilly in Bullets Over Broadway. It's a movie about this pretentious, self-important playwright, John Cusack, who needs money for his play, because, of course, his genius isn't enough to get funding on its own. Enter the mob boss, who graciously offers to fund the whole thing. But plot twist, the deal comes with a catch. His vapid, talentless girlfriend must land a role in the play. Enter Jennifer Tilly, who completely mangles every line she has. And honestly, it's the train wreck performance that keeps the whole movie moving forward. She got an Oscar nomination for this, and trust me, it's a must-see. It's available on Prime right now. I'll find you more platforms soon. Kyle is guilty as charged, no debate here. If my girlfriend came to me and said she was uncomfortable with me texting her husband, I wouldn't sit there questioning it. I'd immediately cut off the communication. Simple as that. And I sure as hell wouldn't have a problem letting her snoop through the conversations to ease her mind and prove there's nothing shady going on. But here's Kyle, flipping out over a single message. Major red flag. Now, am I saying Dorit and PK are getting freaky behind closed doors? No. But do I think Kyle's been spilling tea and talking smack about Dorit? Oh, absolutely. Kyle plays the "I'm too cool for drama" card, but let's be real, PK probably texts him and gossips like they're back in high school. Kyle even calls PK one of the girls, which is exactly what Dorit's been saying. He's gossiping and trash-talking his wife to her close friends. Gross on every level. I mean, no wonder both PK and Kyle had to stop drinking. Imagine the mess they'd get into. Kyle's been the worst for ages, and honestly, it's nice to see her finally get a taste of her own medicine. The way she manipulates people is honestly terrifying. I was loving how Boz called her out. In my own life, I've got couple friends, and while I'm cool with both, I'm always closer to one of the women. If they break up, I know where my loyalty lies. I'm not texting the other person, but if I did, you better believe my friend would know. If Kyle thinks PK the better friend here, she needs to own that. And on a personal note, one of my best friends is married to this super nice guy, but she's told me some horrible things he said to her in private. You know what? I've never doubted her, and I never told her I hadn't seen that side of him. That would be ridiculous. Oh, so let me get this straight. Teddy decides to cancel her own baby shower midway through and kicks her guests out, all so they can sit around and gossip about Denise. Perfect. Because that's exactly what everyone came for, to hear about Denise's personal life, even though she's not even there to defend herself. Classy move, ladies. Seriously, if they're going to talk about her, at least let her be part of the conversation, right? And let's talk about Denise for a second. She doesn't want her private sex life discussed, especially since she has daughters who really don't need to be subjected to this nonsense. But no, Brandy has to make sure it's all public, probably to remind us all that she's still here. Spoiler alert, she's not. Brandy's just trying to stay relevant because, let's face it, her time in the spotlight is over. Now, imagine if it was one of the other housewives' daughters being dragged into this mess. Yeah, they wouldn't stand for it. But hey, let's all just keep pretending this is acceptable, right? Ridiculous. First-time watcher here, just finished Season 4, Episode 6, and I am absolutely floored. Brandy was nothing short of a vile racist, and shockingly, the only ones who seemed to give a damn were Kim and Kyle. Joyce handled the situation with incredible grace, which honestly is just sad considering she had to deal with that kind of bullying. I didn't mind Brandy last season. How on earth did she not get fired for that behavior? It was beyond anything I could have imagined. And don't even get me started on LVP and Yolanda. The way they acted at that dinner. Honestly, it's embarrassing. I've lost all respect for both of them. They've clearly formed this toxic little clique with Carlton, who is just tedious. I'm starting to really appreciate Kyle and Kim more because, along with Joyce, they're the only ones behaving like actual adults in this mess. I just rewatched this episode, and it's appalling how LVP and Carlton still try to defend Brandy. Meanwhile, Brandy spirals, blaming everyone under the sun, her dad, LVP, everyone except herself, for her atrocious behavior. It's honestly a lot to watch.